Hello, my name is Dan Klimek with Sisk and Company, and the safety meeting for today is going to touch on some key points for defensive driving. To be a defensive driver, it's important that you prepare yourself and your vehicle. Those of you folks that are DOT drivers know what we're talking about for a pre-shift inspection. That's the same type of thing we really need to be doing even if we're not a DOT kind of driver. We need to always drive according to posted speed limits, never tailgate. We want to eliminate distractions. This is a huge issue. It's easy for us to be distracted while we drive and not pay attention to the most dangerous thing it's likely for us to do in any given day, and that's drive a vehicle. And we also want to use practical driving procedures. We all know the rules. There's nothing that I can say during this short little safety meeting that is going to be something that's going to be brand new to you. You're going to know what it is that I'm going to talk about. The problem is that you, me, all of us, whenever we drive, we think we get so comfortable doing it that we just forget about the stuff we do and we get distracted. Driving is the most dangerous thing any of us are going to do. There's more people killed in vehicle crashes than in any other workplace kind of accident, and many of us drive for our jobs. We put a lot of miles on for our jobs. So this is a very important topic, because we need to prevent these type of accidents. One of the things that's kind of curious, if I were to ask each one of you, how do you rate yourself as a driver, every one of you, and me included, would say, hey, we're better drivers than the normal guy. The truth of the matter is we're not. Most of us think we're good drivers. We justify our own shortcomings by saying that, well, there's reasons we do this and we're just better than most other folks. But the truth of the matter is that to the other driver, we're the idiot on the road. And we look at something where somebody has pulled a bonehead move and we maybe get upset or we think about something. The truth of the matter is we've likely created some hazard for somebody else. But that other driver was on the ball enough to stop, take some action, and to keep us from getting into an accident. We need to return the favor. One of the key things with being a defensive driver is to make sure that you put on your seatbelt. I can't emphasize this enough, that you put on your seat belts, your lap belts, make sure you wear them correctly. And one of the things about it is taking a few seconds to make sure the vehicle is ready, getting your attitude right. When you get in the vehicle, put on your seat belt, your lap belt, shoulder harness, whatever you'd like to call it. Gives you just a few seconds to actually think about the most dangerous thing you're going to do and to be safe while you're doing it. The other thing we think about is, seat belts we know are to hold us in place, but what about secondary crashes? About 50% of the people that are killed at accidents would have lived had they worn their seat belts. One of the common causes of a vehicle accident, we don't think about this much, is people flying around the inside of a car and they're smashing their head on the pillars, or they're smashing their heads into each other, dashboard, those type of things, cause very serious injuries or deaths. Another thing to consider is the loads that we carry. We have the crash itself. The vehicle is going to hit something and stop. Our seat belts are going to hold us in place, and we're going to be moving around, but hopefully we're contained so we're not smashing into other parts of the vehicle. But what about other things that we carry with us? Things in the back of our truck. Maybe we're driving a big rig and we have a load. Is that load secured? What about little things that we don't really think about? The hard hats, the little folders, maybe the computer, that kind of stuff we have sitting in the back of the pickup or the back of the car. Boy, we get into an accident, that stuff flies around. As it hits us, it's going to cause serious injury or death. It's important that we have a defensive attitude. We want to stay calm and courteous. Remember, to the other driver, you're the idiot. The bonehead move that you see somebody else pull, you've likely just pulled not too far in the recent past. It was because of some other courteous driver that didn't honk, slowed up, anticipated the mistake that you or I was going to make, and took some action to avoid that. We want to control our emotions. We don't want to cut people off. We don't want to tailgate. And if we find ourselves getting a little upset in traffic, maybe we need to just back up, kind of relax, and realize that all of us, the guy in the next car, you, the guy behind you, the guy in front of you, all of us are experiencing the same kind of issues. We want to be defensive. We all want to make it home. We want to make it to where we're going. We want to avoid road rage. This is a common thing. It somehow seems like when we get into a vehicle, we seem like we're separated from the rest of the world. We can do and say and act however we would like, and we don't tend to worry about the consequences of how that might impact other drivers. If somebody wants to pass you, let them pass. Maybe even help them pass. Pull over a little bit to the side. Let them slow down a little bit. Let them get around you. It's not a race. If you're driving and somebody does something you don't like, don't flip them off or get upset at them. If they flip you off, maybe wonder, geez, I wonder what I could have done to avoid that. Be courteous. Understand that by people getting angry, all of us lose our sense for rational thinking. If you do have to honk your horn at somebody, kind of be kind about it. A short little toot instead of laying on the horn. Don't get angry with people. If you find that somebody is angry and they're acting like kind of a crazy person behind the wheel, give them a little bit of room. And one of the most important things is remember that you probably recently made a driving error and somebody cut you some slack. So think about your recent driving errors and remember other people make the same kind of mistakes that you just made. So when you're driving, we need to be courteous, we need to be thinking about safety, we need to avoid distractions. And the distractions I'm talking about, we always hear about cell phones and texting, that's obvious. People still do it, don't know why, but we need to stop those kind of activities. But also things like eating, reading. We're going to try to take some kind of a quick note, or we're not paying attention, we're fiddling with components of the vehicle. All of those are distractions, and we're traveling so fast that we may not realize how many feet we've actually traveled. We always want to look at collision prevention. These are the kinds of things that take some time to look ahead and recognize the hazards. Check your mirrors, look around you. Kind of scan the road, aside, in front, the other side, behind. Kind of make sure you understand what's going on. Ask yourself the what-if kinds of questions and be ready to take a defensive action if something takes place. And usually when things happen, they happen pretty quickly. So we need to be ready to act quickly if we see something going on. That's why it's important to pay attention and not be distracted. So to review, we want to prepare before we drive. Make sure the vehicle and ourselves are really in condition to drive. We want to avoid distractions. Most of the distractions we have are things that are completely in our control. We need to stop those distractions. We want to wear seatbelts. If we can maintain our control, stay in the car, not be thrown around, watch for the secondary collisions that would be caused because our head is hitting interior structures of the car or passengers are flying around hitting each other. That's why we're wearing seatbelts. We always want to anticipate. Look, if we see somebody that looks like they're trying to make a turn, cut back a little bit. Give them some slack. Help them drive. Remember, you've just made an error not too long ago. You appreciate it when they were kind to you, you be kind to them. So that idea about being courteous. Can't emphasize that enough. What we're looking at is driving we know is one of the most dangerous things that any of us are going to do. The more we can do to be defensive as we drive, to use these type of things, to use all the things we know about. Remember I mentioned when we first started, there's nothing I'm going to tell you today that you don't already know. The problem is we don't do it. So hopefully this has given you a little bit to think about, and that as you drive, you can just be that little bit more defensive, that little bit more aware, that little bit more cautious, that little more courteous, and get to where you're going without accidents. This presentation is available at www.gomsca.org.